A child of 10 is left before the gates of the Sixth Order, an infamous caste of warriors where his family ties will be cut away and he will be forged into a weapon of the Fates. His name is Valen Al Sorna, and his song will be a song of blood that will be heard and felt throughout the realm. This is the backdrop for Anthony Ryan's Raven Shadows trilogy. The 3 books in the series are Bloodsong, Tower Lord, and Queen of Fire. Before I get into the review, let me explain how I actually do reviews. Personally, I'm not a fan of a single rating for an entire series or book. Many books and series have strengths and weaknesses that a single score doesn't properly reflect. So for my reviews, I use a 5-star rating system, with the 5 being the highest, over 6 categories. And they are plot, world building, characters, magic system, writing, and enjoyment. But before I begin, these videos do take a lot of time to put together. So if you like the video, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Category 1, the plot. The series starts with the book Bloodsong. Unlike most modern fantasy series that bombard you with a cast of POV characters, Bloodsong only follows 2. Vernier's Alsh Samarin and Valen Al Sorna. Vernier's POV covers the present day of this fantasy world, where he's accompanying Valen Al Sorna on a duel to the death. A duel that Valen is expected to die in, as he is to face the greatest warrior and captain of the Maldinian Islands, the Shield. Verniers, being a poet and historian, can't help but ask about Valen's life, even though he is the man that murdered Vernier's prince and lover and earned the name Hope Killer. Valen consents, and that's how the reader is introduced to Valen's POV, which takes place in the past and starts with him at 10 and being left before the gates of the Sixth Order. The Sixth Order is one of 7 orders in the clergy of the Faith that is the dominant religion of the unified realm that Valen lives in. Each order specializes in a specific task for the Fate. For example, the 4th Order is tasked with the suppression of other religions, while the 5th Order is tasked with healing. The 6th Order, where Valen is consigned to, is tasked with the defense of the Fate, so they are trained as warriors. Now, one quick note about Valen. He is the son of Kralik Al Sorna, who is the former battle lord of King Janus and is responsible for the burning of the Maldinian capital city. The actions of Valen's father are why Valen is en route to the duel to the death on the Maldinian Islands in the present day. He is expected to die in recompense. Much of Bloodsong follows Valen's time training to become a brother of the Sixth Order. Now let me tell you, the things that he goes through are not pretty. Not to spoil anything, but the different trials that each trainee must face and overcome makes you understand why trainees have such a high mortality rate. But in the same token, it also makes you as a reader understand the full-blooded brothers of the Sixth Order are not to be messed with. As son to his infamous father, Valen will eventually get tied up into the schemes of King Janus as the man tries to ensure the economic stability of the realm. Valen's role in these schemes once he graduates and becomes a full brother is to be the military arm of the king. So he campaigns across the realm to bring stability and also riches. In the backdrop of these events is magic, or in this series, the Dark. The mysterious 7th Order, which was seemingly abolished after it tried to rise up and use its dark magic to usurp the Fate, is hinted to still exist. Also, Valen himself is at the center of the Dark, as he has the ability to hear the Bloodsong. Now, I don't want to spoil what the Bloodsong is, as it's so unique, so I'll just say that it's a type of magic that lets the user see the world in a very unique light. The book concludes with Valen being stretched too far by King Janus. After invading the Alperian Empire to secure trade and killing the heir of the Alperian Empire in the process, the Hope, Valen and his armies are beaten back and forced to hunker down in a captured city. Suffering from plague and demoralized troops, Valen trades himself to the Empyreans for the lives of his men. He is then arrested. This ends Valen's POV, and the book concludes with the duel to the death. Book 2, Tower Lord, is a very different book from Bloodsong. Unlike Bloodsong, it is told entirely in the present and follows 5 characters: Valen, Verniers, Prentice, a brother of the Sixth Order, Princess Lerna Alniran, King Janus' daughter, and Reva Muster, an orphan girl from Cumbriel. The book kicks off with Valen, who is on his way home after the events of Bloodsong. He wants to connect with his surviving family in the form of his sister. On his journey home, he runs into Reva, who tries to kill him to retrieve the sword of the True Blade, who she believes Valen had a hand in murdering in the first book. She fails, and Valen, for reasons I don't want to spoil, begins to train her. Yes, He tries to train the person that tried to kill him. Valen's return to the realm is eventually discovered by King Malseus, who is the son of King Janus in the first book, and is soon appointed as Tower Lord of the Northern Reaches, since the former Tower Lord has passed away. Valen tries to convince Reva to go with him, but she refuses so that she can continue her task of retrieving the sword of the Trueblade, and she heads back to Cumbriel. As Tower Lord, Valen brings stability to the Northern Reaches. Princess Lerner is introduced as a POV character early on in this book, and she is sent as an ambassador to the Lonic realm to establish peace between her people and them. Without giving away too much, she obtains the peace agreement and a drop of a strange liquid on her knife. She then returns to the capital, Varenshold, where Brother Ventus has returned from captivity. From Ventus's POV, we learn that he was enslaved in the Valorian Empire, which is not the same as the Alperian Empire, and he was made to fight in the fighting pits. He's eventually bought by a strange woman to help her carry out a world-defining plot. Now, I won't spoil what happened at Varenshold with Lerna and Frentis, but what I will say is that the Valorian Empire invades the realm after the events. The book then details the invasion of the realm and the siege of Cumberland, and its ultimate conclusion that involves Reva, Lerna, and Valen. The final book, Queen of Fire, follows the same characters from the second book, but adds Lucius Alcestian, a poet and brother to a man that Valen knows and respects from the first book. So, like a lot of final books and series, I can't go into a lot of detail without spoiling the entire series for you. So I'm going to try to keep this as vague as possible by summing it all up in one word. Battles. This book has a lot of battles in it. Expect to see a lot of fighting all around the world and all the preparation that goes into them. But more than all of that, we finally learn more about the Ally, the big bad of the series. Now, you might be asking yourself, Ally? You've been discussing the plot of this series for 5 minutes now, and now you're mentioning the big bad of the series. What the hell is wrong with you? Well, first off, this is my review, so I'll do it however the hell I want to. And 2, the Ally was never a major player in the first 2 books. He's mentioned often, but he's never brought to the forefront. He's always operated in the background. That changes in the Queen of Fire. He's brought out from the shadows of the first 2 books, and we learn his backstory, and we see the conflict surrounding him resolved. The resolution of this conflict also goes hand in hand with the conflict plaguing the world, and its conclusion pretty much wraps up the series. Now, my rating. I am extremely torn on this. I really enjoy Bloodsong. Valen, Sixth Order, how the battles were described, the uniqueness of the Bloodsong as magic, it's very well done. As a standalone book, I honestly think I would give it 5 stars. But Tower Lord and Queen of Fire exist, and good lord, are they nowhere near the quality of Bloodsong. Relying so much on battles felt stale, and the new POV characters were nowhere near as interesting as Valen, so both books felt like a vast dip in quality. Also, I absolutely hated how the Ally was handled by the author. He never felt like an imposing villain, and his whole arc was basically resolved in half a book. Like what? Why? Overall, since I really enjoyed Bloodsong, I'm going to have to give it 3 stars out of 5. Category 2, World Building. The world building here is actually good. The fate and all its many orders and the mystery surrounding the 7th Order was very well thought out. The magic system was also very well thought out, but I'll talk about that later. The different regions of the world felt very different, and the values of the people in each were unique. A lot of writers fall into this trap where all the different regions are pretty much the same. Everyone values the same thing, so nothing feels diverse or different. That's not really the case here. So overall, I'll give it 4 stars out of 5. Category 3, the characters. So I'm going to start off with my rating, 2 stars out of 5. And that's primarily because of Valen and the first book. So right off the bat, Valen is an interesting character and a very engaging character. How this character develops from the first book, from the abandonment that he felt to where he ends up in the very last book, is very satisfying and gets really high marks for me. Then there's everyone else. They all basically fall into different tiers of bad. Frentis is in the meh tier of bad. He was introduced in Bloodsong, and his cheekiness was a welcome change. Then he becomes the typical brooding protagonist, which made me roll my eyes. I get why he's like it in the book, but I really wish the author decided to take him in a different direction. Lerna is in the upper quadrant of bad. There's nothing bad about her per se, and she really isn't your modern day classic boss babe. The problem with her though is that she's not consistent. Phelan describes her often as being very dangerous and very conniving. But then you spend time with her under her POV and you never really see it. So if anything, she's just really confusing. Then we have Reva Goddamn Muster. Holy hell. This character is in the G tier of bad. G meaning garbage. Mary Sue. That's all I need to tell you about this character. Trains with Valen for a few weeks? Okay, now she's one of the greatest swordswomen to have ever existed. Oh, how about using a bow for the first time for a few months? Okay, now you're a dead-eye sniper that can snipe people from yards away. This character is just so super duper and her awesomeness knows no bounds as she's loved and worshipped by everyone. And she can defeat anyone that stands in her way. She literally vies for my top spot for most awfully written characters. If it wasn't for my Bloodsong bias, this really would be 1 star out of 5. But again, through sheer bias alone, I'll give the extra point and give it 2 stars. Category 4, the magic system. The magic system here is unique. So, the series refers to magic as dark gifts. It manifests in people and allows for very unique abilities. So it doesn't boil down to just throwing around fireballs and lightning. Gifts can include perfect memorization, creation of illusions, persuasion with a single touch, healing, astral projection, and a whole lot more. It's very different, and so is how they're obtained in the first place, which I won't spoil for you. Because of all that, I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. Category 5, the writing. Anthony Ryan's prose is fine. There aren't any glaring grammatical errors, and does a serviceable job detailing the action and describing events. Overall, I would give it 3 stars out of 5. Category 6, enjoyment. Again, if this was just a review of Bloodsong, this would be a 5 stars out of 5. But since I have to take into consideration Tower Lord and Queen of Fire, then I'll have to go with 3 stars out of 5. And boy, does that hurt. Bloodsong set the stage for something very unique in the fantasy genre, and I felt that Tower Lord and Queen of Fire brought it back down to the same old fantasies that we've been seeing in recent years. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that kind of fantasy, especially for those of you who like that kind of fantasy. But for me personally, I find I get bored with the traditional kind of fantasy of just battles after battles and backstabbing. To me, it just feels a little bit uninspiring, and especially some of the characters felt very uninspiring outside of Valen. So ultimately, I have to give it 3 stars out of 5. So that's my review of the Raven Shadows trilogy. I hope it helps you decide whether it's a series you want to invest your time in or not. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one.